Today's episode of Nerd Soup is sponsored by Skillshare. Right now, the first 1,000 people to use the link in our description box below will receive a free trial of Skillshare Premium, and after that, it's only around $10 a month. The best part of using Skillshare is that it's an online learning community for creators by creators. The thousands of courses available on Skillshare are taught by real-life content creators and artists, ranging from animators, filmmakers, podcasters, and more. So no matter if you're a veteran content creator looking to hone your skills, or if you're an aspiring artist looking to start your career, Skillshare has a course for you. Take this course, for example. iPhone Photography, how to shoot and edit conceptual photos on your phone. In this course, photo artist Amelie Satzker will demonstrate how to shoot creative photos only using your smartphone and a free software. It's a great example of how Skillshare can help you take advantage of equipment that most of us already have. Or if you're someone looking for some inspiration on how to unlock your creativity, you can try this course by Andy J. Pizza, an illustrator and podcaster who has outlined 5 essential exercises for unlocking your artistic identity. And remember, the first 1,000 people to use our link in the description box below will receive a free trial of Skillshare Premium, and after that it's only around $10 a month. So hurry up, click that link, and get to learning. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today by Aaron and Teddy, and we are back to review Wonder Woman 1984. Spoiler discussion, because we have a lot to get to with this movie. It was 2.5 hours. And the discourse surrounding the movie has also been about the future of streaming, blockbusters on streaming, and how this will affect movie theaters. So we're going to talk about that as well. And we're going to take some fan questions from you guys at home, listening in your toasty rooms, or cold rooms. I don't know how you like it.
I like it cold.
And of course, you can watch this video on YouTube, because it is going up on YouTube, or listen on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, just to experience the audio-only version. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and we're going to rank our favorite DCEU films.
Today?
Because of course.
I don't want to.
Today?
Then you don't have to. No one cares about your opinion.
Well, I got to make a list now. I'm going to be thinking about the goddamn list during this whole review.
Can I tweet mine out?
I'm pretty sure it won't be that hard for us. It's not really. I
Has
mean,
it been more
I
than
guess
10?
it's splitting hairs from mediocrity. I don't know if it's been more than 10. It's getting close.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this one.
Yeah, let's talk about this one first. Wonder Woman 1984. I'll throw it to you guys. What did you guys think about this movie? Overall thoughts?
Never been more happier for streaming service in my life.
Okay.
If I would have spent money to see this in the movie theater, I would have been so mad.
Okay, that's the angle you're approaching it.
Yes.
Interesting.
Why, you guys don't feel the same?
No, I mean, I was definitely disappointed with this movie. I was like shocked at some points. Just the main. We're going right spoilers, right?
Yeah. No, this is spoiler discussion. Go ahead.
Like I know superhero movies are inherently ridiculous, but the whole plot point, the major plot point being making wishes on a stone, I couldn't get past it. I'm like,
The wishing well.
I'm like, this is utterly ridiculous. And not only was it like but they took it up to the next level, and they just kept going on it, and it just kept building off of this mysterious, not the stone anymore, but this ability to grant wishes. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right for me.
It seems like it's like a kid wrote this movie. I was not happy with
It's
the
like
writing.
it's like the plot of like a rom-com,
Mm-hmm.
like where you wish, like, I want to be 13.
Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
13 going on 30.
Yeah,
Freaky
yeah.
Friday. It's like,
Set in the 80s, too. It all just felt right for that
and the opening like 10 minutes was so super campy, and it kind of just was nothing like the first film. And I get trying to want to do something different and move away from that, but I don't think they built on the character that much of Wonder Woman. I think there was an avenue for them to really, really dive deep into her trauma of losing Steve. I mean, it's been, 60 years, and she still won't love again. And I feel like they kind of really just brushed over that. And once he comes back, I think their relationship and dynamic was awesome, like it was in the first movie. I think the relationship between Pedro Pascal and his son in the movie were great. But other than those things and a few like fun action sequences, I really was just bored.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of fun to be had. I wanted it to be more fun. That's like with the crazy colors, 1984. That's what like I thought we were getting, and I just...
Well, it was weird because they were trying to capture the 80s aesthetic, and in some parts they did, in other parts they didn't. I liked the campiness in the beginning because I thought It was a cool introduction to this world, and then eventually we were going to get that Wonder Woman from World War One, the No Man's Land Wonder Woman, where she just brutalizes whoever she's fighting. And she kind of did in that sequence. I thought that sequence could have been better. The chase scene in Egypt.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the tone was just all over the place for this movie.
Did you even need to see the first movie to watch this movie?
There were actually 1,983 other movies.
Well, what I'm saying is, like you said earlier, that
I was FaceTiming with my girlfriend, and I'm like, I have an awful joke I'm about to write. I don't care.
I was about to reply, renounce this tweet.
Yeah, you should have.
Would have been an even more awful reply.
I'm like, I'm
to
sorry,
that joke.
but I have this terrible tweet I'm about to put out to the world.
That's fine. We still like you.
Are you happy with it?
At the end of the day, yes.
But I don't mind them taking a completely new approach for tackling this character. Like you said, you don't really have to watch that first movie. And even them bringing back Steve Trevor, it doesn't really build on their relationship or detract from what happened in that first movie and how that sacrifice really pushed her to become the hero she is. It's kind of her learning the same lesson because they really just wanted to, instead of trying to recapture the chemistry with another character, they just brought back the original. Why not,
He just
right?
came and gone, though.
He's Chris Pine. He's a good actor. He's even gooder looking.
Gooder looking.
Yeah, gooder looking. And but I was so on board with what was happening in the movie before he showed up. I was very interested in this new dynamic between Wonder Woman and Cheetah, Dr. Minerva. And then when he shows up, I'm like, oh yeah, he's in this. Okay, let's see if it works. And it didn't.
Well, even with Cheetah, it's like, Minerva, right? Dr.
Minerva, yeah.
It's like that character was, and I guess they tried to make it feel like an 80s movie, but it was such like a cliche.
I know.
And trope. Like, Kristen Wiig is a very attractive woman, and like, she drops her papers and she just gets scoffed at.
Come on. Yeah, it's so cringy.
Yeah, they were pushing that narrative very hard.
And it's like, okay, we get it. Maybe she's a little fish out of the water, a little awkward. But there are other ways you can play with those like tropes to get the same kind of message across, but like instead going full camp with that.
Well, and her descent into becoming this like feral, bloodthirsty
Apex
monster
predator.
I thought of It's Always Sunny on the roast.
Yeah. Hey, now I'm only to a goddamn cat.
She's just so lighthearted and funny and an enjoyable character at first, and then she descends into becoming this beast, and it's not heartbreaking whatsoever.
And I get that. Like, a lot of the movie is like she's very not envious, but she would like to be seen like people see Diana.
But it's like harmless jealousy, and then it just goes full tilt into I'm no longer a human.
I want more than you.
No, like it literally does. Like one scene she's Kristen Wiig, and then the next scene she's literally a cheetah.
Right, yes. You could have done that in a way, just kind of convey those themes.
Man cheetah?
Yeah, man cheetah.
You could kind of convey those themes through actions and developing the character rather than just using this plot device of the Wishing Stone. Which I don't hate. I mean, it felt like a comic book. It felt like a kind of just a mid-tier comic book. And once again, apocalyptic. You don't have to save the world with every movie. You can keep the story more personal, but they went big.
But I just think it didn't like fit with the other DCEU, and I guess at this point they're really not trying to do that. But it's still under the same umbrella, and I think they're kind of pushing it as a connection to the other, like studio-wise. I mean, I think Patty Jenkins just wanted to make her own movie, and we can try to figure out everything else that contradicts or makes mistakes later on. But I feel like in this, like in the Batman versus Superman universe, I don't think there was a time 40 years ago that people were making wishes and like.
Remember that time in 1984? That's what somebody tweeted at me when everything went to shit for just an afternoon.
Yeah. And then like it's just catastrophic.
This is a traumatic event.
Brink of the apocalypse.
A slap on the wrist too for Pedro Pascal's guy.
Right? Yeah. No, he took a
does
page
no one
out of the
remember
Nolan
this?
playbook.
Like
He's got a kid.
The wish, the magic, the shit hitting the fan. It kind of just went away. I don't know.
There was one I saw a review. It said that this movie takes you out of reality for 2.5 hours, but it literally, Pedro Pascal's character was on the nose Donald Trump.
I mean, the dig at Donald Trump I thought was funny. He's like, "You're a con man." He's like, "I'm a TV personality and a businessman."
The whole second half of the movie was Pedro Pascal's character in the theater, or not in the theater, in the TV screen, yelling "Wish on me."
Well, I thought he was
praise me.
Yeah, no, you're right about that character. He starts as a very charismatic, sleazy snake oil salesman, and I think he absolutely nails it. But the
Yeah.
character eventually just becomes too much.
Right.
The whole movie is about the themes of excess and overindulgence, and that's very much reminiscent of that time period. But that's also the problem of the movie, is that it just goes too big in these weird places. And where did the budget go for this movie? Was the budget just
$200 million?
200 million? And I saw a great tweet. It's like when she was running.
Yeah.
It's like when you're definitely on location, surrounded by real things. At times, it just looks so cheap.
It looked
Yeah.
so. It
It's
looked
a $200
really fake,
million
man.
movie.
Even her gliding in the air, I didn't like.
Well, those are kind of the cool parts. Her flying, the invisible jet.
Yeah.
Those made me smile.
There were some things I had fun with, so I don't think it's a total dumpster fire, and it's definitely not the worst comic book movie I've ever seen.
Her last one.
There's
I
a
liked
lot. There's a lot there, but I don't think they just go into any of the good parts that I would have liked to see to make this movie better for me. Like I said, a lot of the things with Diana dealing with her trauma, some of the relationships and characters I think had great chemistry. I think Trevor and Diana, and there's something there, but they just got too ridiculous at times, and it just got too messy, and I couldn't really enjoy myself or have fun watching it, which that's what I wanted from this movie, especially nowadays when I've been to a theater probably twice in the past 6 months. I kind of just wanted to sit back and watch this big budget blockbuster and have fun on my couch, and it was a struggle. 2.5 hours, and it took every one of those minutes.
Yeah, and the overall theme that they're trying to convey in this movie was just so lame. It was weak. I don't know how they were trying to relate that beginning lesson that she learns on Themyscira to the overall plot of the movie, because her bringing back Steve Trevor is not her cheating, and I guess it holds her back from winning, but I guess it's her kind of just trying to cheat death. But once again, the bringing back Steve Trevor, he's a fine actor. He's a very good actor. But that, to me, if you don't bring back that character, maybe you can focus your story and on those aspects of the movie that we enjoyed.
But I think bringing him back is one of the only good relationships I really like in this movie with Diana and Trevor.
You like it because it was good in the first movie.
Steve.
Yeah. But if the only thing that you
wasn't
liked
bad in
about
this
this
movie,
movie was something that they already did in the first movie, that's a problem for your sequel.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying I liked it. Like the movie, I only liked theirs, so I'm happy that they brought him back. But he also did come and go though, really quick. He left just as fast as he came.
Yeah, that's why it kind of feels cheap. It's just
Yeah.
a way to bring him back. It's a way to promote that Chris Pine is coming back, rather than finding a new love interest for this character. If they're going to keep it in the vein of James Bond and Indiana Jones, like they said, they always had different love interests. And Diana has had other love interests in the comics. And like I said, go the friendship route. I think, the falling out that she had with Cheetah could have been as impactful as Steve Trevor's death. Falling in love with friendship, finally finding someone that you can connect to, and then losing that.
That was a problem, too, for me, is they have the second goodbye, right? And
it doesn't hit as hard as the first one. It's just her running away.
It just had, I was like, that's it?
And he's like, I'll always love you.
Like, he's just gone now? He's gone again? Like, that's how...
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
It's as easy as saying, I renounce my wish.
And that, I hated that.
Yeah,
part,
no, the
too.
high fantasy, fantastical elements here just are too simple. That's the thing. They're so ridiculous, but the rules are very easy. Like her relying on everyone in the end to renounce their wish. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I would never.
You
wish
think
back
Ted's
$1 million.
renouncing his fucking wish?
Zero
No.
chance. Does everyone have to do it too to save the world?
Most of them.
Yeah, you would think that, most people would just have to renounce their wish.
I mean, the president, renounced that, nuclear wish, and that solves a big problem.
Yeah, and all the nukes just disappeared.
Maybe Teddy down the block who wished for a cheeseburger.
He
doesn't have to
$1 million
renounce
ain't
that.
much for a
Fuck this.
cheeseburger.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me being Rihanna's fiance, I'm not renouncing that. What does that do?
That's not hurting anybody, right?
Yeah, that's come on, butterfly effect. Give me a break.
And it's like, even how the wishes were granted too. It's like, I wish we had more help. And all these people that show up at the office and we're like, I wish this, and next thing you know, the guy's getting arrested by the FBI. I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah, instead of giving Pedro Pascal, they could have gone that way where he becomes the stone and he has this power, but instead of him granting 30, 40 wishes and it just becoming even more ridiculous, they could have had him use it in a clever way to climb to the top. A more believable way, that he has the power of luck and coincidence on his side because he has this magical artifact. I thought that was the route they were going because they showed a lot of attention to this character. And I thought, oh, okay, they're going to flesh out this villain. He's kind of going to be a Lex Luthor in this story. but it just went too
He just
far.
appears in the
Yeah,
White
yeah.
House and he's talking to the president.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Did you guys like where they went with the 80s though? Like, do you think they hit it, or was it too much? Because it seemed like it was like a cosplay kind of thing. They were trying too hard for it to be the 80s.
This could have taken place in any time, and I probably would have.
Same thing.
Yeah, it was really nothing too just like. It's like, oh, they just dressed weird. Maybe they had slightly less good technology. It doesn't feel like an 80s movie.
Yeah, my test is always, does it feel like it's taking place in the time period, or like you said, is it just cosplay? Is it just dress up?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, yeah. I like that. I love the camp in the first 10 minutes, like I said, because I thought it was a funny, silly little introduction to how this character, it's Wonder Woman never changes, but the era does. It's similar
Right.
to Steve Rogers in the
Yeah.
Marvel movies. But like you said, once the plot really gets going, this movie could have been in any time period. It's so on the nose. It's like, we need to have a theme for this movie, right? So what's the theme? It's going to be careful what you wish for, and the truth always wins. Got it.
It's definitely like unique. I kind of respect it in that sense. Patty Jenkins trying to do something like, rather than your prototypical superhero movie where you introduce the villain, you get their backstory and superhero, and they clash and they fight. This was like an interesting wrinkle. You had different characters. They did try to develop these characters, especially the villains, but I just didn't hit. Just did not hit. I wish it did.
And the geopolitics of the time are pretty messy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Instead of going, you could have went the route of tackling the problems of this era, the excess, but what about the people who were left behind? And that's kind of the character of Maxwell Lord. It's an individual who changes his name from, I think it's Maxwell Lorenzo. He changes it to Lord to kind of fit in. He's trying to, like you said, the Donald Trump persona, the vulture capitalistic individual. But instead of just really tackling that through some clever narrative and some subtleties to the character, they just wrote it to the top. And like you said, the character ends up, it's just him screaming at the end. And where you enjoy the performance kind of in the first half, you start to wonder, maybe this isn't a great performance. And it's not his fault, because he's really going for it, but that's the route that they chose to take the character down. And also, Wonder Woman in this movie is very vanilla. Like you said, they don't really build on the character. I don't think the lessons that she learned in this movie are kind of the same lessons she learned in the first movie. And I think the weaknesses of Gal Gadot as a performer, they're highlighted here more because of the kind of shoddy dialogue and messy narrative. That some of the moments here, she's really supposed to, like the times when she's trying to reel these characters in and talk them down.
Yeah.
It's just, the dialogue is just horrible. It's like, what is it costing you? Your humanity, your warmth.
No.
What else, Patty?
She was much better in the first one, and the first movie was just much better than this one. So it's definitely a step down in quality in both story and, I think, her performance as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and they're relying on the fish out of water aspect in the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they do it again with Steve Trevor. Now he's the fish out of water. Why are we doing this again?
They flipped the fish.
Yeah, holy shit. I kind of like that name. Maybe I'm more on board with it now. Just because I like the concept of flipping the fish. Yeah, you're doing so many things on the surface, on the outside, you're doing all these things to appear different. This is different from the first movie. But when you dig deep, it's kind of just the same.
I thought like his fish out of water in the beginning. I'm like, all right, come on. But I did find myself like finding something to him. Something he loved was being a pilot and flying, and kind of getting a new grasp or a new definition of what that is now in the 80s with the rockets and the different type of planes. And he's just so amazed by these things, something that he's loved his entire life. And it's like basically imagine something you love and you're getting to experience it again for like the first time because it's just so new to him. I thought those little sprinkles in there were nice.
No, there are sprinkles of wonder
Mm-hmm.
throughout this movie, and that was one of them. I thought that was a very sweet scene, them seeing the fireworks. You didn't like that, right? You didn't like the fireworks scene?
I just thought it was cheesy.
I thought that was dope.
I thought it was cheesy, yeah, and I thought her making the jet go invisible, I mean, it's a great callback to classic Wonder Woman.
Isn't there she said there's radar on it, though, no? There's a tracking.
Yeah, I don't know how radar... I don't know how
true.
that works. I mean, even like the opening scene, too, when they're doing like those Olympics. That was cool, but like...
Why?
Yeah.
Why are we spending 10 minutes here? Yeah, like I
Well,
said.
it's like what you said in the beginning to show you. Like I thought that's where they were going to push this narrative where you can't cheat to win, but it's like they didn't really do it. I thought that was the whole reason for the beginning, is to show what she learned. And
Yeah,
how
when
she's
she
applying
doesn't
it
want to
to
give back Steve Trevor,
Yeah.
she's like, we can find another way, and he's like, no, there isn't.
Okay, you could still convey that. And I guess it was just a fun sequence.
Yeah, we're
too,
Monday
so-
morning quarterbacking
Yeah.
here, and I think that a lot of reviewers on the internet, especially with the discourse, that it always happens. People got on us for that for the Mando review. It's like, oh, you guys you wanted to see something happen. You're just upset that you didn't get what you wanted. I think I'm upset that I didn't. It's not that I wanted. What I wanted out of this movie was for it to be a good movie. So now
Yeah.
I guess we're retracing the ways that we thought that it could have been better.
Well,
So,
I mean,
or we're just going off what
I
they
didn't
did.
really
and
know
I think
I
it
think
wasn't
the
good.
the big problem here is just your overall narrative, just relying on the wishing stone. That's a big problem. And your second biggest problem is Steve Trevor, in my opinion. So if you remove those things from the equation, you have to come up with a new movie entirely, and I think that's the route they should have gone. Still, I like the setting, and I like Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. I think that's what you need to focus on. You could keep it small, cut like 30, 40 minutes out of your movie, and really dive into a friendship between hero and villain.
I wonder if you even needed.
Yeah.
I wonder if you even needed Maxwell Lord if you just went with Cheetah route, and how maybe she comes on in these powers a different way, and then
You
it's
always
her
see-
dealing with getting these powers.
You always see that kind of dynamic when you have a non-super. Well, I guess he has superpowers, but like your typical, like nothing like strength or flight or anything close to being able to compete physically with Diana. So usually when you have that type of villain, you have to have a kind of other villain that's either working for him just to kind of give her, or kind of like with Lex Luthor and Doomsday. So you need that like physical confrontation, and then maybe you have that kind of mental confrontation with him and trying to play his game and figure out how to stop him that way. But
If I can riff right now, I would rather see Kristen Wiig's character Cheetah. She's doing like her investigations on these artifacts, and she comes across the powers,
Right.
and that's how she becomes Cheetah. And you don't even deal with Pedro Pascal's character.
I think there's a way that you can use Pascal's character as kind of the personification of excess
Yeah.
and the temptation of that era. And that maybe that's how that Cheetah kind of falls under her spell and betrays Diana in some way. Maybe there's some like expedition that he's financing and it's going to be really risky, or it's kind of controversial, and she takes that job because she wants to prove that she can be
Yes.
as
And she
successful,
and she
as
comes across the
confident as
powers.
as Diana. I think there's another way that you can go about that. But all that stuff I did enjoy of her just kind of living her life as an anthropologist working at the Smithsonian Museum. I always like that when you get to see where superheroes let their hair down, where they hang out. But yeah, I think overall the movie just needed to be a bit smaller, a bit more personal. And I think the character is so beloved. You were such a success the first time around that you lean into that character and you bring in some more characters to kind of sharpen the edges.
Well, where does Wonder Woman go now? Because this movie, like you said, didn't push Wonder Woman forward. So was this just like a blimp in her time?
Well, it's an adventure of the week, and I think you can
Yeah.
always, I mean, you go to the comics, you can always find a
Right.
new adventure of the week. And I think with the origins of Cheetah, it's weird because they really delved into the high fantasy elements of comics, but none of the interesting ones. And they always do this. I think Marvel does a better job, but DC kind of avoids their interesting high fantasy. Like there are so many origins for Cheetah that are really weird, and they could have just went that way. And she's just she's just Wonder Woman's Joker.
Was
They
this
could
a
have kept
comic?
it real simple.
Was this a comic with the stone?
I'm sure it was. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
right.
any specific comic.
like I said in the beginning, superhero movies, they're ridiculous, and there is a ton of like, look at Multiverse and Spider-Verse, like what they're gonna do with those movies, or what they're gonna do with the Batman Flash movies. Like, shit gets weird, and I think you have to be able to accept that. But just something so like
But
ridiculous.
this wasn't weird. This was illogical. I think that's the
It's
difference.
just something so ridiculous to me about like people granting wishes and like them coming true. And that's like the driving force behind the plot, especially in this movie and in this world they established. So
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just too big. If something was granting wishes, and then like when she gets shot the first time, if that's really just a gruesome demonstration of what you have to give up, rather than her just being shot in the shoulder, like if she gets the absolute shit kicked out of her, maybe it works more. You know, like this is ridiculous that people are granting wishes, but whoa, there are some real life consequences to
Right.
that. And the real life consequences became global. And that's been a problem with superhero movies for years now. is that everything in the third act ends up being I have to save the world rather than I have to do something. I have to make a tough decision. I have to fight someone who was my friend to the death. I have to stop her from doing, something along those lines. But
Well, especially too because it ramped
everything
up.
was just too big.
Yeah, because it like very quickly went from I need to stop just Lord to now the whole world is gonna be destroyed.
Yeah, and there's no way that somebody wasn't watching that TV and saying, I wish Max Lord was dead. You know how many people probably wished him dead? He's this sleazy fucking horrible businessman.
The guy he got arrested.
That everyone knows. Yeah. I mean, after 2020, there's no way humanity is holding hands. It was the equivalent of Gal Gadot just singing Imagine to the entire world. But it was Wonder Woman pleading that everyone could be a decent human being for 10 seconds. I don't know if you're going to get everyone to fall in line. Seriously.
Yeah, had to rely on that. I found to be
It made me a bit pessimistic.
yeah.
It seemed too unrealistic. Where in a superhero movie where things are unrealistic, when that takes the cake, that says something.
You know what would have been better if Luke Skywalker showed up at the end and just started chopping everybody up. The internet would have fucking loved that.
What that guy wished for? A farm. It's all over the city.
That was funny when he wished that woman dead. She's just like, ugh. Well, going back to the cliche of Kristen Wiig, the nerdy outfit, the hair, the glasses, she's a good enough actress to convey nerdiness and awkwardness and insecurities without all that.
It was her. I just thought of Bridesmaids when I saw her. She played like the same character as Bridesmaids.
Well, she's kind of always Kristen Wiig, which I think actually works for this character because naturally she's just good at that. She's good at being awkward, and you don't need to. It's a problem with the whole movie is that we're going to dress everything up to make sure that you know what we're going for.
Oh yeah, it's very like
Yeah, it's down your throat.
when they show Kristen Wiig, like no one's paying attention to her. Then you have Gal Gadot walking around, everyone's just hitting on her and
She
staring
is just
at her.
fucking something else, huh?
I mean,
Chris Pine's a baddie, but Gal Gadot, holy shit.
So when Chris Pine first came back, is that what everyone sees him as? Or is that what does she see him as that? And then
no,
you
I
just
think
see him as he is?
They see
Everyone's-
him as that person,
yeah.
the less hot version of Steve Trevor. And what do you need, a sandwich?
Yeah, it's loud, dude.
I haven't eaten today.
Kid hasn't eaten in 48 hours. And she, I guess in her own mind, she just sees Steve.
Right, all right.
And that bothered me at first, and then I kind of just got over it.
Yeah. I don't. Honestly, that kind of transition was kind of pretty smooth. Not gonna lie, because I did just like I was like, oh, all right, whatever.
Well,
I guess
everyone like gets their wish to a T. She kind of had like they kind of just threw that one together. It's like, I'll just take this one guy.
Yeah, no, at that point, just bring him back to life, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like,
Because he just shows up, so there's no reason why. No, like he says he wakes up in a bed.
yeah, that would have been I think that would have been believable. But they went that route, and that didn't bother me as much once the movie kept going on. But I just think his presence there just was unnecessary. And there's so many contradictions throughout this movie. Like when Batman's being a dick to her about Steve Trevor. It's not a contradiction, but it's like, why would Batman say that shit? And why wouldn't they? I guess they made the effort to show that she's taking out the security cameras and she's trying to remain as anonymous as she can.
But she literally
retcon
connected through the lasso of truth to everybody.
It's like, I am Wonder Woman. I have not been hiding.
And yeah. Well, even like the flying thing. It's like
She glides, not flies.
Yeah. I guess she shouldn't have to fly.
I
That's
like that.
Doomsday. Oh, okay. I thought that was awesome.
Lassoing a plane. Can we relax?
She's a superhero.
I like when she lassos things that shouldn't.
She lassoed lightning.
I know.
She's
That's
a
awesome.
god. Yeah, that's awesome. That's the
She was
magic
lassoing
that, yeah.
clouds. I don't know how that makes sense, but I kind of like when she lassoed things that aren't meant to be lassoed.
Right.
That kind of stuff doesn't take you out of the movie, though. It just takes me out of the movie. And it's like, oh, God, they're like doing too much.
I mean, I could sacrifice a lot to just
She's a
have,
god.
To have fun.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I don't mind.
Really?
Lassoing, yeah, lightning. I mean, lightning is something that comes from Zeus, right? And Zeus
Yeah.
is her pops.
And I did
He's
love-
giving her an assist.
I did love the shot at like the station they were at when the sky is, it's like, it's not quite dark yet, but it's in between, and she's coming in her fucking, her gold outfit. That was,
Right, and the gold, the outfit.
When they were shooting.
Artemis's armor.
Yeah.
and that's the other thing, the big mid-credit scene that you guys probably didn't even know about until just now.
Linda Carter.
Yep.
That was actually amazing. I think that was my favorite part of the movie. when she turned around. I was like, Linda Carter.
She used to do Wonder Woman.
She's still attractive. You think that she has to earn this armor, or this armor is going to help her in some way? You never think that Cheetah's going to be such a formidable foe that she just needs this armor.
I was very confused because
Cheetah destroys the armor.
She was beating the fucking shit out of her in that armor.
I guess I missed the part where she went home to get the armor. So, so the next time I see
Pulled out of the closet.
this character, I mean, I see her flying, and then they have like these little, they go back and forth for a few characters. Maybe I looked down at my phone or something because I wasn't really too entertained. But then the next thing I see these characters is her in her gold suit and Kristen Wiig in full cheetah. I'm like, what the fuck did I miss? How did we get here?
What did I miss? You would think her getting, like you said,
like, oh, okay.
You would think her getting the armor, that would be a big scene that they could do in the movie. Like, she earns that armor, she's worthy of the armor now, and they just skipped over it.
Yeah, definitely.
Missed possibilities.
And like we said, it's cool to see her in that armor, and the story behind it, I think that was one of the better scenes of the movie. Even Steve Trevor was like, whoa, that's amazing. But yeah, the fight at the end at times, I mean, the Kristen Wiig Cheetah CGI is not going to be a big problem for me. It was dark.
Yeah.
She looks whatever. She looks like a creature. I think you can go, like, there was a route to go practical with that. It's similar to Cats, right?
Yeah.
Or why are you trying to do CGI? Just go practical.
Yeah.
Make it look like she's half human, half cheetah. Like they do in the comics.
Yeah, get the spots.
Yeah. But there's so many other problems with the movie by the time you get to the cheetah CGI.
You just don't care.
Yeah, it's just like, whatever.
This is what it is.
Point. And even her first fight.
I thought the fight was pretty cool when she was breaking the armor and everything, and she was like clawing her way
That part
through.
was cool. But the first fight, when she's not cheetah yet, when she's just Kristen Wiig still.
In the White House?
Yeah, she just shows up. It's like, Barbara, no. It's like, I'm evil now. Ha ha. We're getting close to the end.
No, that was an hour away.
I really wanted to see her just run full tilt into a tank and just it blows up. I thought that would have been awesome. Just her running super speed and she just Derrick Henrys it.
I was wondering why she wasn't chasing the car, why she got into the car.
I got hyped, man, when she just got out of the car and
Yeah.
started running. She's like, I'll just take it from here, buddy. You try and crash into one of the tanks and then climb up.
Then he kicks the fucking gun off. God.
He's just there to be there, man.
I know, he is.
Really is.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to go that route, that he was just a figment of her imagination. That would have been awful. But the way that it's filmed, it's like he really could have just been a figment. Like, the man's contributing. His contribution is slim to none. His plus minus, I can't imagine.
Want to take a couple questions?
Yeah, let's go to fan questions here. Our first question here from Adelaide at Probs Adelaide. What's your proposal for Wonder Woman 3, or if there should even be a third one?
2049.
Holy shit.
Blade Runner universe.
Yeah.
No, I don't think this movie. You know, we definitely didn't like it as much as the first one, but I don't think this is like a franchise ruiner. I don't think it's that bad.
I think they need to release the Jenkins cut. Because every time a DC movie sucks, it's because there's a longer version out there that's better, right?
That's true.
So someone's got the...
That's the way it goes, right?
But yeah, I don't
if
think
Zack Snyder gets to make movies and do-overs every time he shits the bed, then Patty Jenkins can come back for
yeah,
Wonder Woman
and
3.
I don't think there's still some good things here, and with the character, and obviously the first movie I think builds a ton of goodwill, and you know some people do enjoy this movie, so we might not like it, but I think there's definitely an audience for it, and I think there's so many different cool stories you can do with the Wonder Woman character.
Yeah, I think you lean into the Greek gods. I think that there could be an interesting story there where they kind of, because they do this in the comics all the time, where they go kind of high fantasy, but the Greek gods are humanistic, and that goes back to Greek mythology as well. I mean, the betrayals, the murder, the incest. I've made this point before about the Thor. On the Thor review, I made the same point. Lean into the mythology for Wonder Woman 3. You keep it grounded in contemporary mythos and superhero mythos, but
they started to do
go that route.
They started to do it when she found the stone ring, and they started getting into the Greek mythology about it.
That was the most interesting part, is that she can have a job as a real-world anthropologist, and it goes back to everything that she really studied about civilizations and about mythology and religion and stuff like that. So I think that you can bring in some of those Greek god characters and cast them as just regular famous actors of today, you know, and make it a family dilemma or something like that.
That'd be sick.
Because they hinted at that, you know, that the gods aren't all dead. I think that they said that. Not in the movie, they say that the gods are all dead, but then one of the producers was like, unless.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think that could be an interesting way to tackle Wonder Woman 3. This question here from your favorite nerd at yourfave_nerd. Do you think they utilized Cheetah enough, or did they focus too much on Maxwell Lord?
Well, I think they both got like a fair amount of screen time and actual attempt to develop, but I think that time could have been more efficiently used to make the characters a little better. And
yeah, it just seemed like they were underwhelming. So it seemed like they didn't. Like
Yeah.
They weren't like.
no, they
built
definitely.
enough.
I mean, it's a 2.5-hour movie, and I would say like the three, I guess, big main or kind of plot points. You have Diana and Steve, and you have Cheetah coming in and out, crossing with different paths with all these different characters, and you have Lord's plot. And I think they spent a fair amount of an equal amount of time on all of them.
Yeah, no, I think time is an issue. Not enough time is not an issue. Like you said, everyone's getting their time in the spotlight here. And not everyone necessarily needs that spotlight. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Maxwell Lord, that's someone that I think you scale back a bit, because you get all the charisma of Pedro Pascal, even if you only see him for glimpses. But the true villain of the movie should have been Cheetah. This should have been a story and a relationship between Diana and Minerva. But hey, what are you going to do? This question here from something else at indie_series. Do you think after the Snyder Cut is a ridiculous mess, they'll just reboot the universe?
It's kind of like what you said.
No, like I said, I don't think this movie is like a franchise killer. I don't think it's that bad, and I think a lot of people have been liking the other DC movies that have been coming out. Shazam, people very much enjoy. The first Wonder Woman, Aquaman, even though I particularly don't like Aquaman and Shazam, but people do. So I think they are building something and a more goodwill with fans than they did when they first started this out. I think they might just going to stay the course.
Yeah, there's no real plan that they have to stick to right now.
Yeah.
So even if Snyder Cut comes out, and we've always been speculating on if Snyder Cut is well received, will they try to bring back Ben Affleck's Batman and continue with that character? Will they continue with another Justice League story that follows the Snyder Cut, bringing all those actors back? But if it comes out and if it's an absolute mess, it just doesn't really matter.
It was never out to begin with, though. So
I don't think we're
that's
going
not
to get
even part of the movies, I guess.
I don't
The
think we'll
DC
get
universe.
another massive DC team-up movie for a while, regardless of the Snyder Cut. I feel like they're just going to make their movies. Like Patty Jenkins is going to make Wonder Woman 3, and then they're going to make Aquaman 2, and there's going to be Shazam 2, Black Adam, and maybe they'll cross over if they need to, but if not, they'll probably just keep their distance as much as they can.
I wouldn't
And
mind
just make
that,
their
though.
own individual films.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind that, because what Marvel did is lightning in a bottle, which probably won't get replicated again. So instead of trying to do that, why don't you just make good Adventure of the Week movies?
Well, now it would seem like they're already going down that route. That would be the way to go because of how kind of just nebulous the future is when it comes to streaming and movie theaters. That it looks like a lot of these movies will come out on streaming simultaneously with their theatrical releases. So it doesn't matter as much to kind of bridge everything together because of the way that movies are now being received. Everyone is just kind of happy to get a movie at this point.
Well, it is interesting, too. We got to see how studios take into effect these changes, right? Like, what are they going to view as a success for Wonder Woman? How many subscriptions do they need? How many do they need to make at the box office?
You know what's interesting, too? You always bring this up with the binge model, that once it's out, the discourse only lasts for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have the week-to-week, people talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing with movies. When you have a movie out in theaters for 5 or 6 weeks, the conversation lasts longer. Now it's just everyone already has their opinion on Wonder Woman because we
It's all
just
out
saw it in
already.
our house. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I wonder if they'll think about that the next time they release a big blockbuster on streaming.
I don't
Because there's
think
already been reports about them having cold feet about the Dune plan.
I don't think this is going to last much longer, though. I think we'll be back in theaters in next year, I hope.
Well, it's not
So I
about
don't
whether
think the streaming is going to be a problem anymore.
it's not whether or not we're physically able to go back to a theater. It's more of studios seeing, oh, well, we could just do this. We can just cut out the theater and build our own streaming service. Look how much subscribers we got this year because we put these big blockbusters on our service. and we're making more money than we would have had.
But what do you do?
Or maybe
as
they're getting killed, and they're like they can't wait. You just gotta wait to see it all play out. Really, I don't know how that works for them financially, but that's going to be the motivating factor for any decision they make going forward.
But it's a matter of how much money are they really going to make, because the theatrical model is always going to make you more money because you've convinced people that you have to pay $100 for a family of 4 to see a movie. And you're paying for that. You're paying for the experience. You're paying for the 30-foot high screen. That's something that you can't get at home.
You also make movies
at home,
for
I
the
burnt
big
my
screen.
popcorn and had sink water because I was out of water bottles.
That's disgusting.
But you
Get a
make
goddamn filter.
they shoot and make movies for the big screen too.
Right.
So it's like,
Well, that's the thing.
how much are you missing on the movie
Moving
too?
forward, they have these movies shot and ready to go. So Wonder Woman is a $200 million movie regardless.
Yeah.
Maybe now, like you said, I think this is not permanent. So studios will continue to pump hundreds of millions of dollars into franchise movies, hoping to make a profit of 300, 400 million. You're not making that profit on HBO Max. I don't give a fuck how much money Mulan made. You're just not, unless you can convince people to pay $100 to stream a movie, and you never will. So I think obviously they want to stick to theaters.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. And it's just better for the movie because, like, someone made a point on Twitter that everyone now has the opportunity to watch a movie, pause it, and tweet about what they don't like, which really pisses me off. I hate when someone says, I'm watching a movie, and they're tweeting in the middle of it. I'm like, watch the fucking movie, man.
Me?
Yeah, you. Like, you're missing shit. But everyone can announce their criticisms on a public platform immediately after a movie is now released. And they have more of it, and rather than being kind of just that classic escapism, just being in awe of what you're seeing, and having having to take the time to really soak it all in. When you're at home, you got on the Sherlock Holmes look, It's that meme of you're just waiting there to dissect it.
So social media is making these streaming movies, like, if you stream your movie, it can make or break you on social media. And I think this movie is breaking right now.
Well, we have a question here from Shane, and he says, do you think that Shane waiting for hockey Lisa at Shane Lisa think it deserves the absolute massacre that it's getting on Twitter? Do you think Wonder Woman deserves it? By no means is it a good movie, but my God, people are treating it like the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, like I said, it's not that as bad as some of the other ones we've seen. I think it's ridiculous. I think we talked about that, but I think there's still a lot there that I can see if somebody enjoyed this movie or like had fun with it.
It does feel like a lot of people are just taking pleasure in dunking on this movie.
Yeah.
It's by no means, this is a better movie than every movie Zack Snyder has ever made. So
come on.
And the way that people are dunking on this movie,
that's ridiculous.
Pull up that man's filmography.
Let's say Watchmen and BVS off the top of my head. But.
BVS.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is fucking Shakespeare compared to BVS.
I hate that man too much.
That is talk about. I mean, they have a lot of similar
it's better than like it's not. I don't think it's a Fantastic Four tier or Suicide Squad tier.
No.
Are you ready for the movies?
Don't.
Yeah. 300.
It's Dawn of the Dead. 300.
I'll take this. I'd watch this over 300 and Dawn of the Dead. I'd double feature this before double featuring those two.
Sucker Punch?
I don't know. I'll probably land somewhere like in the 5s for me.
Right. Well, I think, like I said, I think a lot of people are just waiting for this movie to be bad. Mm-hmm. It's kind of similar to Captain Marvel. I wonder why that is.
Well, no, I think people actually were excited for this movie and thought it was.
But the negative reception has been pretty intense. It's a mediocre movie. I mean, no one goes into a movie with the idea of making a bad movie, but people are acting like this is just an absolute abomination. When you're looking at the other DCEU movies, and it's like, what did you expect? Like, oh my God, a DCEU movie is not that good?
I think it's
not that surprising.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because Wonder Woman was so good, the first one was so good, that people's expectations were higher.
And it's a completely different movie in like a lot of ways.
Right.
Just tonally. But yeah, I'd probably put it in my like Aquaman tier. I don't love Aquaman.
I think this is better than Aquaman.
I didn't hate Aquaman. It was just there. I think I did hate Aquaman, actually.
Yeah, no, come on. Just thinking of Aquaman.
I haven't thought about that movie since I left the theater.
There are 4 separate moments in that movie where a character says, call me, and then he says a superhero name. Aquaman does it twice. I don't know, Teddy. You think that this movie deserves the intense negative reception that it's getting?
It was definitely, I think it was definitely a bad movie, but it's like you said, people taking pleasure in shitting on it. So it was just going to keep getting worse and worse.
All right, guys. Well, in the tradition of internet nerd film culture, we have to rank our favorite DCEU movies because they're all part of a franchise. So here we go. The prestigious DC Extended Universe.
We going from worst to best? Or best to worst?
I'd say let's go worst to best, yeah. Ted, you'll start it.
I think.
Okay, Aaron, you got your
Oh,
list?
sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's Suicide
Don't
Squad.
forget Birds of Prey.
Suicide Squad's the worst.
Okay.
A movie's. It's abysmal. It's. I don't think anything. There's not. I can't really think of any positive from that movie at all. And that's a movie I truly.
I did like Deadshot's introduction with the Action Bronson song. I was bobbing.
Okay, yeah, the introductions are actually pretty cool. So I'll give it that. That's most of where my points go. Then I would have to go with.
You want no beef?
God.
You don't want no beef?
Aquaman. Then Justice League, which I didn't hate too much, but whatever. Shazam. I'm
Shazam!
Lost. Yeah, I'm lost. Then I'll go Wonder Woman 1984, Batman vs. Superman. No. This is tough. I can't do this. Hold on.
Teddy?
I'm gonna say my favorite's Man of Steel.
No, you have to go worst to best.
It's kind of it's pretty much what Aaron said.
Yeah, I gotta go best for us. I go Man of Steel is probably my favorite.
Then the first Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman and BVS. I don't know.
Okay, you just tenanted your list.
I don't know. Those are the movies I enjoy the most and would watch again before the rest of them.
Okay, Teddy, go best of worst.
Birds of Prey wasn't that bad. It was pretty good either. I like Birds of Prey.
Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Batman vs Superman, Shazam, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Aquaman, 1984, Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey last?
Yeah.
What?
You
In what
enjoyed Birds of Prey?
universe is Birds of Prey worse than Suicide Squad?
I enjoyed Birds of Prey.
Yeah, I thought
had
Birds of Prey
fun.
was fun.
Yeah.
Better DCEU villain, one of the better ones, Black Mask. Harley Quinn is great. Margot
She wasn't good
Robbie's
in Birds
super
of Prey, though.
charismatic.
Did you see Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
He hasn't seen it.
I have.
What happens?
No.
You haven't seen it?
No, I didn't see it. I didn't mean to say Birds of Prey last.
I respect that.
I saw it last on the list.
Okay. I would go, my favorite is Wonder Woman. Number 2 would be Birds of Prey. Number 3 would be Shazam.
Over Man of Steel?
Number 4 would be Man of Steel.
Oh, you hate Zack Snyder. So.
Number 5 would be Justice League. Number 6 would be 1984. 7 would be Batman v Superman. 8 would be Aquaman, and 9 would be Suicide Squad. Those last 3 for me. Your BVS love is just fantastic. I love that for you.
Thank you. I appreciate
Glad
that.
you've stuck by your guns all these years.
Yeah, I can recognize its flaws, but I still, if it's on TV, I'm going to watch it. And it's Batman vs. Superman. That's, it's kind of my thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I enjoyed the parts that I enjoyed about this movie is because I'm such a fan of the character, and I'm such a fan of DC characters that when Wonder Woman's running around in her costume, she looks so good in the costume, and the costume looks great. She is Wonder Woman, except when she has to deliver some of this terrible script. But like I said, you have to judge the movie for what it is. And I saw a tweet. It's like, why are people so hard on DC movies but not Marvel movies? It's like, well, because Marvel makes better movies.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, that's just how it is. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to our Wonder Woman 1984 spoiler discussion review. Comment down below. What did you think about Wonder Woman 1984? And yeah, like, subscribe, share this video. Ted, any grievances?
No, I'm alright.
Okay, that's good. Aaron?
No. I'm going to watch the Jets play.
Oh, you'll have some tonight if you want to come back. Just re-record them.
Oh, they'll win. They'll find a way to win again. Scumbags.
See you soon, guys. Well, would you look at that? It's finally over. Hey guys, Beau Oliver here for one final send-off. Now, before I beg you guys to like and share this video, I'd like to thank our very special Patreon pledgers. We are very proud of the community we've been able to build here at NerdSoup, and it would not have been possible without our Patreon supporters. You guys are the true MVPs of this channel. Everything I've said, you keep the fridge full, you keep the lights on. There aren't enough words to thank you guys, but we'll do it anyway. Thank you. And we have a few videos coming up that have been suggested to us by Patreon pledgers: My Hero Academia, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Aaron, and Full Metal Alchemist will be reviewed by Marissa and yours truly, and Castlevania, which will be reviewed by Marissa and Aaron. And if you'd like to consider donating to our Patreon page, you can visit patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out some of the rewards we offer to our listeners. And really, we'd like to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to watch our videos. Patreon pledger or not, your support is what keeps us motivated to keep giving the world our opinions on movies and TV shows and video games and pop culture, even though no one asked for it. We're still here, we're still yapping, and we hope you continue to join us. I'm Beau Oliver, and I support this message.